There is something completely wrong with the way that we view life. No matter what happens, we tell ourselves that we are having a positive experience. It doesn't matter what happens. The worst things can happen and we'll still say that we are having a positive experience. And we want everyone to feel like they are having a positive experience. So if I'm not having a positive experience and I'm honest enough to say, hey, I'm not having a positive experience, what's going on here? Other people are programmed to feel like there is something wrong with me. You're not having a positive experience because you're focusing on the negative. What about the positive things that are happening in your life? You are healthy. That's a positive thing. You're not homeless. That's a positive thing. You're not hungry. That's a positive thing. You have this, you have that. But you're not focusing on the things that you have. You're focusing on the things that you do not have. You're focusing on the negative things that are happening in your life. That's why you're unhappy. Oh, you are unhappy because you have depression. You have a mental illness. There's a chemical imbalance in your brain. That's why you're unhappy. You need treatment and you'll be better. Oh, you're unhappy because you don't work out. Maybe if you worked out, you feel much better. Oh, you're unhappy because you're addicted to alcohol. You're unhappy because you're single. Oh, you're unhappy because you in a relationship with a person who is abusive. You're unhappy because you do not have a job. You're unhappy because you're not making enough money. You're unhappy because you do not work hard. We never want to think, hey, what if something is really wrong with this world? Nobody want to think that. It is taboo to say, hey, I think there is really something wrong with this place. You can't really say that in public. Everyone is programmed to feel like there's something wrong with you if you stand up and actually say that. There's something wrong with the way that we're programmed to view life. That is why the worst things keep on happening and we're unfazed. A lot of things that are happening that we shouldn't even be accepting as humans. At our level of consciousness, we shouldn't be accepting some things that are happening. The wars. Human beings shouldn't be accepting that. If a country decided to invade another country, as humanity, we would need to stand together and be like, we don't want that in our world. But that's normal. People being unalived every day, people who are truly, truly innocent, are being unalived every day. It's like we're numb. We're numb to, like, we see that happening, but we're like, hey, that's how life is. We never think, hey, what if life itself is wrong? Because the things that are happening are clearly wrong. And these things are happening in this world. These things are part of life. There has never been a point in history where these things didn't exist. Like, there's never been a point in history where there was no war. There's never been a point in history where there was no diseases. There's never been a point in history where there was no poverty. There's never been a point in history where there was no slavery. There's never been a point in history where there was no hatred. There's never been a point in history where things were perfect. History keeps on repeating itself, but in a different way. If you've watched the last Matrix movie, they tried to recreate the first scene of the first Matrix movie, but it was a bit different. Like, there were a few things that were different. Even the characters were different. That's life. History keeps on repeating itself, but in a different way. So we're like, this is new. Nothing is new. All right, these things that are happening now are the things that have happened in the past. They're just happening in a new way. So if all of these bad things are part of life, and we think that these bad things are wrong, doesn't it mean that life itself is wrong? Let's be real here. Let us be real. If there was a cult where every 2 months a few people get sacrificed, in that cult they sing good songs, they enjoy themselves, but every 2 months some people must be sacrificed. There's free food. Yeah, people have all kinds of fun, but every 2 months they must select people randomly and they must be sacrificed. Would we say that people get to listen to their favorite songs, they don't have to pay for food, so it means that what's happening in that cult is good? This is what we are doing when we try to justify the things that are happening in the world, like the negative things that are happening in the world. Like, look at the positives. People have homes, you have food. Some people have money, some people are successful. Yeah, but what about the people that are suffering? There's a reason why, no matter how big a cult is, if a person gets unalived in that cult, the whole thing must stop. Right, the whole thing must stop and everyone involved must be investigated. That's because we know as a collective that unaliving another person is wrong. So it doesn't matter how that person was treated before they were unalived. The things that are happening in this world that we think are wrong are really, really wrong. It doesn't matter if sometimes we get to have fun. It doesn't matter if sometimes we get to listen to our favorite songs, we get to watch our favorite movies sometimes. Sometimes we meet the right people who are going to love us and we feel good because of that. That doesn't matter if there are things that are happening that are wrong and that are part of life, because we've never been able to get rid of these things that are bad. You see? That's the problem. We cry when these bad things happen that we knew were gonna happen. People die and we cry. But everyone knows that that's gonna happen. I mean, yeah, crying sometimes is good because maybe you're just crying because you want to feel better. Maybe you feel like different emotions and you're trying to feel better by crying, yes. But there's some people who cry because they're too shocked. But that happens. You might not have expected it to happen the way that it happened, but you knew that was possible. It's something that happens. You might not have expected it to happen the way that it happened, but it was going to happen eventually. Remember, I had a conversation with someone some few weeks back. This person didn't understand antinatalism at all, and I was telling them that, okay, look, you do know that in this realm that we've found ourselves in, people do get unalived. You do know that in this realm that we've found ourselves in, people do get, I don't even want to say the word, you do know that in this kind of realm that we find ourselves in, people do get sick. You do know that in this kind of realm that we found ourselves in, people do exit on their own. Don't you feel like if you create a person knowing that all these things are possible, you kind of like responsible, you might not really want to admit to yourself? Because that is only possible after you've created a person, right? It's not like it's always possible. Right? I didn't create a person. So that means that I didn't create the possibility of someone getting raped. I didn't create the possibility of someone getting unalived. I didn't create the possibility of someone living in poverty. I didn't create the possibility of someone unaliving themselves. You know what I mean? I didn't create, because I don't want to see that happen. So I'm like, okay, since this happens after creating people, what if I don't create a person? It means that that will never happen to the person that I would have created. It means that is impossible. Like it's never gonna happen. There isn't a person that's gonna die that was brought into this realm by me. I've prevented that. If I'm truly against that, if I feel like that is bad, that is the best way to prevent that. But if I don't prevent that, I'm like, I'm going to keep on creating people. And then when bad things happen to them, I'm just going to cry and complain, blame the devil, blame witches, blame demons. Like now, I'm the one who are putting people in the realm of demons. And it's like I'm the one who are putting people in the realms of demons. I remember I saw this advert. It wasn't even an ad. What was? I think it. No, it wasn't an advert. Maybe it was just a. Maybe it was a scene taken from a movie. Yeah. So this other lady was supposed to do something. She had to do something very fast. She was holding a baby. And there was a thug next to her. And on the other side, there was a priest. There was a Catholic priest. So there was a thug and a Catholic priest. She didn't know what to do because she needed someone to hold the baby for a while so that she do what she has to do. I think she ended up not giving her baby to anyone. Right. Because she knows what's possible. Okay, that's a thug. A thug might, the thugs don't really, they don't really care about babies, but thugs are thugs. And there's a Catholic priest. You know what they're famous for. She's like, no, I don't want to put my child in a situation where something really bad can happen to them. I don't want to consciously do that. So that's kind of like the same thing with antinatalism. So you being like, hey, all the negative things are possible in this realm. All the things that I've seen happen are possible. All the things that have happened in the past are still possible, right? You understand that all the worst things that have happened in the past, these things are still possible. There's nothing that is really preventing these things from happening again. If the worst possible things if the worst things that have happened in the past are not happening now, we're just lucky. But it doesn't mean that they're not gonna happen. So isn't it best to just prevent consciousness from experiencing that. Not even prevent, like the right word is not even prevent, but not to create. Because you're not really preventing any, like me not having children, I'm not really preventing my child from being born. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like that will happen on its own and I'm deciding to prevent it from happening. I'm actively creating a person. Like if I decide to have a child, like I'm deciding that I'm going to create. Me not creating a child is not me preventing the child from being born. You see, like if I had a paper and a pencil and decided not to draw anything, I'm not preventing anything from happening. Yeah. Unless that was gonna, unless my hand was just gonna draw something on its own, and then I try to prevent that from happening. That would be me trying to prevent. So if you choose that, hey, I'm gonna bring someone into this realm, are you also not saying that it is okay if something bad happens to them, because you know that is possible, right? You know that. You know exactly what is possible. The truth is, life itself is wrong, but we don't want to admit that to ourselves for some reason. When bad things happen, we try our best to justify these things. If you are religious, you just say, yeah, God knows what he's doing. God knows what he's doing. I've had preachers justifying suffering using Job as an example. God tested Job in so many different ways, but it still didn't change his mind about him. He was still very loyal to God. You're like, what? Don't realize that that's messed up. So they try to make people feel good about their suffering, using the story of Job as an example. Like, yeah, Job, he didn't leave God because he was suffering. So you mustn't leave God because you're suffering. God knows what he's doing. In the end, everything will make sense. So you must just stick with God even if you're suffering. If you're conscious enough, you realize that that's just wrong. And like on every level, that's wrong. People who believe in the theory of evolution, they'll just be like, yeah, it's just the cycle of life. It's the cycle of life. Try to justify nonsense. Those who believe in nothing will just say it's just how life works. But no one wants to like stand up and say, hey man, maybe this is wrong. Maybe this is messed up. Maybe we're trying to justify something that is truly, truly messed up. And what does that say about us? Maybe internationalists are right. Maybe the Gnostics were right. Maybe we are truly in an evil world and we are not admitting that to ourselves. Because we weren't programmed to realize that truth. Unless we do the kind of work that we ain't even supposed to do as humans and start to see things as they really are. But the average human is not supposed to realize that we are in a hell realm. They're supposed to think everything is fine. When you were a baby, you used to think that everything was fine. Like most of y'all, like you used to think everything was okay until you started seeing a lot of crazy things happening, and you started to ask yourself the right questions and realize that no, something is really off. people will be unalived. People will be aped. That's what happens in this world. Someone is getting unalived right now. Someone is getting aped right now. That's how messed up the world is. There are soldiers that are fighting right now. We like to think that we have evolved, but we can't even resolve conflict without fighting. Like, there's no, let's fight. And the things that I'm mentioning are just things that everyone agree that are wrong, but there are a lot of things that are happening that are wrong that we might not even agree around. But that some people are going to be like, oh, that's wrong. But some people are like, nah, that's not wrong. So there are things, like there are, and there are so many ways that people are actually suffering. Ways that we might not even like take seriously. Like, okay, you're suffering, but oh, someone broke your heart, you're suffering because of that. Oh, someone bullied you, you're suffering because of that. Someone called you stupid, you're suffering because of that. You are lonely, you have no one, you're suffering because of that. You're like, no, that's nothing. But people are unaliving themselves because of that. You know, there are loads of lonely people who are unaliving themselves this very minute. They're like, I'm lonely, I have no one, and I don't know what to do. So that shows us that it's a big deal. Some people, you know, they're going through a heartbreak, they don't know how to handle that. Ever had your heart broken before? The kind of pain that you feel is almost unreal. Right? It's almost unreal. Like, damn, I didn't even believe that a human being can feel that way. So the messed up things that I was mentioning are not the only messed up things about this realm. They're just messed up things that everyone wants to mention when they talk about how horrible the realm is. But people have problems that are, you know, making them unstable, that are making them crazy. You know, some people are failing at school. They don't know what to do. They don't know what their future looks like. They're like, damn, what am I gonna do? Because school is not working, and I wasn't born in a family where there's money. So what do I actually do? What do I do? I'm 5'5". It seems like no one really take me seriously. Women don't take me seriously. You know, there are a lot of guys who complain about their height. You know, person is 5'2" and women don't take them seriously, and that sucks. That's a problem. You know, a woman complain and say she's fat, and guys don't love her because of that. They even make fun of her. That sucks, because it reduces the quality of life for that person, right? You are 5'2". Women don't love you, like, for real. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how masculine you are. It doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how strong you are. You could be you could tick all the boxes. You know, when women say, okay, I want a guy who's like this, and you literally tick all the boxes, but still they don't want you because you are 5'2". That's messed up. So you can't even have them even when you fly. Like, even when you are at the level that is impossible for men, but still you can't. The guys who are dealing with that, there are women who are decent, who will treat you very well as a guy. They will love you right. They will love you exactly how a woman should love a man, but niggas don't love them. They're struggling because of that. It reduces their quality of life. No one talks about that, but the quality of your life is reduced if, you know, your relationships ain't working, and it's not your fault, you know, because you think, okay, maybe it's because of my temper, and then you work on your temper still. Or maybe I'm dating the wrong people. You try to date people that you feel are the right people still. So it's not working. The quality of your life sucks. No one talks about that, but that really does reduce the quality of life for people. So it's not just wars that are making this our experiences, sentient beings, horrible. It's not just poverty. It's not just racism. The things that we feel like are small. Growing up in a family where your parents don't understand you. No matter what you say, they don't understand you. They're too damn unconscious to understand someone like you. That can create real trauma that might not never heal. That can reduce the quality of your life. Your siblings don't love you. They don't care about you. Grow up in a place where everyone is an alcoholic and you're not. You're suffering because of that. You grow up in an abusive family. You're suffering because of that. You are failing at school. You're suffering because of that. You don't know what to do. You don't have hobbies. Nothing makes you happy. You're suffering because of that. People are suffering because of many different things. You're unsatisfied. You're suffering because of that. That many things that are actually showing us that life itself is wrong, and we do not want to admit that to ourselves. We always want to think of solutions, and these solutions don't really work, because if they really did work, then we'll have been able to get rid of all the problems that have been existing since the beginning. Think about it. What problem have we solved as a collective? If you really want to think about it, what problem have we actually solved as a collective? Something that was really a problem. I'm not talking about us discovering technology, but I solved the problem. The things that the problems that technology seems to have solved are not even real problems. It's like if I can't get to, I don't know if you are able to see those towers. We call those towers Soweto towers. If I'm unable to get to those towers in 5 minutes, then I use a car. It doesn't mean like that was a real problem. It's not a real problem that I can't get there in 5 minutes. So technology hasn't really solved any problem, because the real problems are the problems that we're still dealing with now. People hate one another. People are racist. There's inequality. People are living in poverty. There's wars. These problems were never really solved, and these are the real problems. The technology has never solved any problem. In fact, it does make things worse sometimes. When you look at where we are with AI, that 10, 20 years from now, people ain't going to even be able to provide for themselves and their families. If people, still choose to have families, because AI will be doing everything. AI is so damn advanced, bro. Like, AI is already doing a lot of things. People don't even write letters anymore. Like, I'm gonna tell ChatGPT to write a letter. So we get to a point where people who are working jobs that AI can do will be left without jobs, because AI is much faster, and it costs less, like much less. So it can do a lot of things that human beings cannot do, and it costs less. And that has been happening, really, when you think about it. Back then, people had jobs. Like, there was always something that you can do. But because of technology, people don't know what to do anymore. Like, it's hard to get a job. But like, you're a writer, but AI is a better writer than you. So we'll get to a point where AI will be making music. Artists will not even have jobs. Like, they won't be able to make money anymore. But like Drake, AI can do what Drake does. AI can do what Kendrick does. We'll get to a point where you will be telling AI to write a diss track, and then it writes a diss track. There'll be a point where we'll be telling AI to rap like Drake, and it rap like Drake. So we'll get to a point like there was this other song that was posted on YouTube last year, but it got deleted. It was so dope. It sounded exactly like Drake, but it was an AI generated song, but it sounded exactly like Drake, and people thought it was Drake. And it was so dope. Like, it was a really, really dope song, and people were fucking with it. But they had that song deleted because it was doper than most of his songs. Like, it was really, really dope, man. It was really, really dope. So you see where we are headed with AI. See where we are headed with technology. But we're unable to fix the problem of poverty. There's still poverty. There's still inequality. There's still racism. People do not have jobs. People do not have money. People are really suffering. That tells you something. That these problems come with the package. So it's really up to you as a person to like look at the whole package and see if it's good, right? Is it a good package or a bad package? When you look at everything. This reminds me of a joke from Dave Chappelle. It's a joke about O.J. Simpson. So he's talking about the good things that O.J. Simpson did. And he said, he raped, but he saved. I thought that was funny. It's like, yeah, there are positive things, but there's also negative things. So you look at everything and decide whether the package is good or bad. And I'm telling you, if you truly were going to look at everything that actually happens in this realm, then you realize that the package is bad. You see, if you were to look at everything that happens in this realm, you realize that the package is bad. So yes, there are positive things that happen. Yes, there are a lot of things that we enjoy in this realm. You know, human beings connect in ways that make them enjoy their experience sometimes. Human beings party and they enjoy themselves sometimes. Human beings do find the jobs that they love and enjoy themselves, you know. Sometimes people do find themselves feeling happy sometimes. You know, they do find themselves feeling joy sometimes. But the horrible things that happen really tell us something about this realm. We shouldn't let these things that we feel are good distract us from the truth. Is that we are truly in an evil realm. The truth is that life itself is wrong. And we must acknowledge that, other than lying to ourselves and crying when bad things happen, as if we don't know that these things come with the package. We're in denial, really. We're in denial. And we should wonder why we are programmed that way. Why can't we just acknowledge what is really going on? Why do we have to lie to ourselves? Why do we have to ignore truth while the truth is being shown to us in every way possible? Because life has always been showing us what it is. We are the ones who've been telling ourselves that it's not what it's showing us it is. Life hasn't really been lying. It's not like we don't know what happens. Doesn't matter how young you are, you know what happens in this world. So we need to realize that the real problem is that life itself is wrong. There could be people that you hate who have done you wrong. But the real problem is that life itself is wrong. Hey, that person screwed me over. I hate them for screwing. You shouldn't even hate them. You know, it's just life that's just wrong. Hey, this person stole from me, and these things happen in this world. You know, here's what you must understand. Nature will create messed up people. The same way that it creates people that we feel are ugly, right? You see someone that is ugly, you don't even want to talk to them. You're disgusted by them. You look at them, you don't even want to look at them twice. They were created by nature. And that's not a mistake. It's just, it happens. So of course, nature will also create people who will rob other people and not even, give a shit. That is why in every town, in every city, in every village, in every tribe, there are those people who are messed up enough to want to steal from other people. There are people who are messed up enough to want to unalive other people. They've not communicated. They just feel that way because nature programmed that way. That's why, like when they scan the brain of a psychopath and they scan the brain of a normal person, like there's a difference. There's a reason why if a person analyzes people, but it is known that they are insane, they are taken into a lunatic asylum. They're not really taken to jail, like jail. Why? It's because we know that it's not their fault. But the truth is, the things that people do that are bad are not even their fault. It's just how they're programmed. We just don't understand it yet, or we are afraid of what that would mean. Because sometimes you can find yourself in a situation where you understand something, but you're like, dang, what does? Because if really I admitted that I understand that, that would mean that no one should be blamed for anything. Life is playing us. Sometimes you think, hey, some people were just raised wrong. Like some people can be raised right and still be psychos. So you can't blame it on the environment. You must just blame them. But like, this person was just messed up. But you don't even understand what that really means. They are messed up, meaning that it's not their fault. It's just messed up. You're not messed up. That is why you're not doing horrible things. It's not because you're stronger or better. You're just not programmed that way. That's why we like different things. That's why we don't feel the same about things. So horrible things will keep on happening because nature will keep on creating people who will do horrible things. It's never going to stop creating people who will do horrible things. So what does that mean about this realm? Doesn't that mean that the horrible things that are happening because they come with the package that these things cannot not happen as long as we are in this realm. That's why we've never been able to like fix any real problem. We are in a realm where things have been set up this way. It's like if you decided to play a game that was programmed to be a certain way, where you'd meet zombies that you would need to unalive, and you'll be chased by dogs, and like it's how the game was set up. There's nothing you can do to change that, whether you like that or not. So this realm is that way, right? It was programmed to be the way that it is. There's nothing you can do to change that. It's even if you try to fix the problem temporarily, it will find another way to manifest. Right? That's why we never got rid of slavery. It just found another way to manifest. And we don't even realize that slavery still exists, because we still gotta realize that. But once we realize that, it will find another way to manifest. Because slavery is part of the game, right? It's part of the package. You can pray to God, but it's the devil. It's the devil's fault. That's why there's slavery. It's the devil's fault. It's the devil's fault. That's why there's suffering. That's why there's inequality. That's why there's race. Like, no. It's not the devil's fault. The devil is part of the package, if you want to say it's the devil's fault. The devil is part of the package, meaning that he will always be there as long as we're in this realm. So the bad things will keep on happening. That is why I've wondered why Christians believe that they should be having children if they believe that the devil runs shit in this realm. It really doesn't make sense. Yeah, like, bro, this is a messed up realm and you still want to have kids? You believe that there's a devil who is going to be sent to hell, and all the people who would do the things that he said they must do, they're going to burn with him in hell, but you still be having kids? What if your kids end up doing what he wants them to do and they're not saved? Don't you feel like you are indirectly doing what the devil wants? Wouldn't it be logical to not have kids so that the devil will burn in hell alone? Like, people don't think right. It's actually scary. The truth is that life itself is wrong, man. Yes, we don't want that to be true, so we lie to ourselves. You know, it's gotten to a point where life is about how best you can lie to yourself. We realize that. Like, you're loved more for lying than for telling the truth. So when people see that, hey man, this person is very good at lying to themselves, that's when they will reward you. If you become very good at lying to yourself, you become very good at lying to other people. So you lie to yourself and you lie to others and they reward you. But if you're going to be truly real, you're not going to be rewarded for that. You're going to suffer for that. You're going to be punished for that. How dare you tell me the truth? I don't want the truth. I want to feel good. I want to be lied to. You know, that's how humans were programmed. They weren't programmed to love the truth. They were programmed to love the lies. And it should be obvious when you look at the way things work in this world. You know, it should be obvious that people weren't programmed to love the truth. They were programmed to love lies. They were programmed to enjoy lies, to feel good when they hear lies, and to feel bad when they hear truth. Doesn't that tell you something? If there are things that we feel are wrong in this realm and these things keep on happening, and there's nothing that we can do to stop these things from happening, that means that life itself is wrong. That's the obvious truth, right? When you're driving your car and it's moving, everything is working as it should be working, you don't feel like there's something wrong, right? Because you know how that car should be. So yeah, this is how the car should is. There's nothing wrong. But if the lights are not working, you know that something is wrong. But that wouldn't mean that the car itself is wrong. It would just mean that there's something wrong with the car. But if you were given that car that way, like when you bought the car, the lights weren't working, it would mean that that car itself, has problems. Like it's the car itself that has problems. And you look at life is that way. It's not like we were given life and it was perfect when we were given life. Like it was perfect and then we messed it up and then it became like this. No. It's exactly how it was when we got to know it. That's why I was telling you that the bad things that are happening are not bugs. The bad things that are happening are features. And we should ask ourselves what that actually means. It's like if you were in hell and you were being tortured and you felt like that was wrong, but you still wanted to be in hell. Or you still wanted more people to be in hell. I think the perfect hell would be a hell where the beings that would be there would be programmed to feel like they are suffering, but they still want to be there. So you're being tortured 24/7, but you still want to be there. You don't really know why you want to be there. You can see that something is wrong, but your emotions make you feel so attached to the hell realm that you're like, hey, more people must be brought here. And some people tell you that, but what's happening really sucks. Like, you are being tortured. Look at that guy. Look at what he's stabbing you with. You're banning 24/7, and you think that more people should be brought into hell. Like, yeah, I feel that way. I feel like more people should be brought to this place. And you tell yourself that that can be fixed. The problem, people suffering now, that can be fixed. Maybe they need to think differently. Maybe they need to worship some God. There'll probably be religion in hell. There'll be some preachers in hell that'll be preaching to people like, hey, you just, you gotta believe in God. He's gonna save you. Just believe in God. They lied when they say you can't be saved. You can be saved. Just keep on praying and God is gonna save you. Or they create a new religion and make it powerful. We're full of shit, man. That's the thing. We are really full of shit. There needs to be real honesty. That's how we win. That's how we evolve. That's why I've been telling you guys that I focus on what makes the most sense. Truth is what makes the most sense. If I'm as honest as possible myself, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But if I lie to myself, then I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing if I'm trying to understand this world. I mustn't be so fearful that I just lie to myself and say I'm living life. Like, nah, man. I must be as honest as possible. I must be as real as possible. I must be as fearless as possible. You must look at it this way. That you found yourself in this room that you don't understand, so of course it's your right to know what the heck is going on. Why shouldn't it be your right? You're the one who decides. what really makes sense? Does it make sense that you know nothing about what's going on? Does it make sense that you suffer and you pretend as if that is good? Or you must be honest. Say, hey, I'm suffering here, man, and I don't know why I'm suffering, and I don't think that that makes sense, and I don't think that that is good. I don't think that there's anything that I'm gaining from suffering. And ask yourself, what is that telling you? Like, the fact that you're suffering, what is it telling you? Is it telling you that you are in heaven? Is it telling you that you are in a good realm? Is it telling you that this is making sense? Or is it telling you something different? Today it's cold, man. Yesterday it was hot. The fact that things just happen. Today it's cold, and then tomorrow it's hot, and it's gonna be raining, and it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that, hurricanes and all. We're not even in control. It's not like we decide, like, hey, today it should be hot, and then we agree, or we vote, right? Let's vote. Should it be hot today? And then it's hot. Should it be cold today? Okay, it's gonna be cold. Should it be like, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be dope? But we can't do that. It seems like there is someone who's controlling the weather, who just decides how it's gonna be. Like, okay, now there should be a hurricane. I like how humans give these disasters names. When I was growing up and I heard about the names of these hurricanes, man, I thought it was a joke. People giving disasters name, like I thought it was a joke. I didn't think people were giving disasters name. Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane this, and like, nah, man. Like, that's messed up. We can see that we're not in control. If you weren't brought here because you chose to be here, you must realize that you don't have free will, right? You cannot be taken to a place against your will and then be given free will while you're in that place, especially if you can't go back, especially if you can't make the decision to go back. You don't have free will. The things that happen in that place happen because of what happened before you got into not even before you got into that place. These things be happening because you are in that place. You're feeling the way that you feel because you are in that place. You're thinking the thoughts that you're thinking because you're in that place. That's not free will. It's the opposite. It's causality. That's why you can't blame anyone for suffering. It's causality, Things have happened in the past that made them make the decisions that they make. So even if you feel like, hey, you have free will because you do make decisions. If you're given two options and you're given this option and you choose this option, that's free will. If you weren't able to choose anything at all, that would mean that you don't have free will. But still, you don't know why you choose this over that, right? It's because of what has happened in your past, experiences that you didn't even choose to have. For an example, if there was fire here and there was ice here, and you were asked to touch something between fire and ice, you probably would touch ice, right? Why? Because in the past you've touched fire and it hurt. So you're like, nope, I ain't touching fire again. That's not free will. It may seem like it's free will, but it's not. It's causality. You have learned from the past. And it's not even learning, really. So the truth is, people are just suffering. Not because they're bad people, not because they deserve to suffer, not because they've done anything wrong, but because something is really wrong. Thank you all, guys.